From casually keying a car while a witness watched,
Actually, I didn't. I walked in front of her while she did it.
to a man standing in court admitting his own rage is something that he's never been able to control.
No, my anger gets the best of me.
Well, that's an uncontrollable.
It's an uncontrollable issue.
These are the most disturbing moments in Judge Judy history. Starting with Michaela, who believed destroying someone else's property was perfectly justified. Sierra's car was keyed, but the worst part wasn't the damage, it was how casually it all happened. A witness described watching the entire act unfold.
And she had her stuff in her hand. She pulled her hand out, and then that's when she keyed Sierra's car.
She walked alongside Michaela while she did it. No hesitation. But even after being caught, Michaela showed zero remorse.
Did you ask her why?
She said because she deserved it.
Well, the next question is, why did she deserve it?
I just left it at that.
She deserved it, and that was all Judy needed to hear. Sierra got the confession herself by bluffing about camera footage.
I did say we got her on camera. We actually didn't. I just wanted the confession out of her. And I also have the pictures of the car.
Michaela fell for it instantly. She deserved it, and that was enough to seal her own judgment. And while keying a car is bad enough, sending a classmate to the operating room over a so-called flying pencil is on another level entirely. Jonathan placed a pencil on his classmate's chair. Point up, and the result was exactly as bad as it sounds.
You sat down on your chair, and you were stuck in the rear end with a pencil which lodged in your buttocks.
A pencil lodged so deep that it required surgery. But instead of owning the act, Jonathan and his mother had a different story. The pencil was apparently airborne. Yeah, Judy wasn't buying a single word of it.
So Jonathan here is going to tell me, because I read the answer about the flying pencil.
The flying pencil defense was dead on arrival. And the deeper Judy dug, the more absurd it all became.
Because he was...
It was in midair when he sat on it.
Yes, I was pointing up.
Midair, pointing up at the exact moment a kid sat down. But after minutes of dodging, Judy finally broke through.
See, I knew we'd get somewhere. You got it?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. Now you can sit down.
Jonathan admitted fault, and Judy made sure that everybody in that courtroom heard it. Jonathan walked in with a story about flying pencils and walked out proving the only thing more disturbing than the injury was his refusal to own up to it. And Jonathan wasn't the only one whose reckless behavior left someone with a serious injury, because Kelly Brown's idea of Halloween fun would leave a woman with a broken nose. Kelly Brown roughhoused at a Halloween party. Broken nose, $2,800 in lost wages, medical bills piling up. But his wife's defense was the most insulting part. She argued the plaintiff couldn't have been in that much pain because she was spotted at Red Lobster.
I don't understand why she went through so much pain and suffering if she went out to eat, that she had her nose broken. She came into Red Lobster.
Yeah, like a meal cancels out a broken nose. And when Kelly called it an accident, Judy wasn't having it.
I don't believe you.
I think accidents happen every single day.
This is not an accident.
It is an accident.
No,
ma'am.
madam.
There was nothing accidental about it. Judy's verdict was as blunt as the injury.
But he acted like an idiot. He had a little too much to drink, and he shouldn't have done that to another adult.
$5,000 and an idiot. While Kelly refused to own a broken nose, Cassandra couldn't even own her cat mauling her own mother. Cassandra kept a cat that had never seen a vet. No shots, no checkups, nothing. And when that cat mauled her own mother, Andrea, leaving her covered in scratches and bites, Cassandra's only move was to send in witnesses. Andrea recounted what happened in court.
I just remember getting scratched, bit, and just really mauled by the cat. I was gushing blood from my arms, hands, everything.
It wasn't a scratch, it was a mauling. And the witnesses Cassandra brought, they only made things worse. Judy dismantled one so completely that she forced them to apologize on the spot.
I sort of feel sorry for you. That's why I let you off the hook as easily as I did.
Sorry, Miss Judy. Yeah, the defense was crumbling in real time. But the most disturbing part was Cassandra's excuse for never taking the cat to a vet.
Never took the cat to a vet.
He was an indoor cat.
That's either a yes or a no.
He was an indoor cat. as if four walls somehow prevent an animal from needing medical care. The scratches still healing on her mother's skin said otherwise. And if a daughter refusing to own her cat's mauling isn't disturbing enough, how about dropping off 6 pets at a groomer and getting back only 5, with nobody able to explain what the heck happened to the 6th? The groomer ran a chaotic operation, unleashed handovers through a sliding door, no head count, no accountability, and Sarah Bell trusted them with 6 dogs that she called her babies.
I texted her, say, I'm gonna bring my dogs tomorrow, 6 of my babies, to the shop.
6 dogs walked in that morning, but the groomer's own son made the admission that confirmed the worst.
Nicholas, when the plaintiff's brother came to pick up the dogs,
Yes, ma'am.
how many dogs did you give him?
I gave him 4 and asked my coworker to bring out the other one.
5 dogs were returned. The 6th never appeared. Nobody could explain where it went. And then when the groomer had the nerve to file a counterclaim for pool draining expenses, Judy's response was exactly what you would expect.
You're entitled to that. This is what your counterclaim is. Your counterclaim is ridiculous, and I'm dismissing it. You say that you were forced to drain
$2,000 for the plaintiff. Counterclaim dismissed, and nobody ever explained what happened to the dog. While losing a pet to a negligent groomer is devastating, discovering your own mother stole your identity to buy herself new teeth is a betrayal that cuts even deeper. Anadina opened utility accounts and credit cards in her own son Jordan's name, all without his knowledge. She charged $3,000 in dental work to his credit, and when Judy confronted her, the answer was immediate. Children don't pay for their mother's teeth, but Anadina thought otherwise. Apparently, this wasn't a one-time lapse. Judy quickly identified the pattern. Anadina had been cycling through family members for years, burning through their credit and moving on.
use electricity in your family and they don't pay the bills. That's what it's about.
Person to person to person, and every single one of them got burned. But when Judy pressed her about where she was living, Anadina dropped an excuse so absurd that it left even Judy stunned.
No, I don't live in the house. The house ended up burning.
What?
It burned.
Oh, that's convenient.
We were under foreclosure, though.
Also convenient.
Well, my father, after my mom passed away.
Convenient.
A house fire, then a foreclosure, stacked right on top of each other. Anadina walked in with a tower of excuses and walked out with none of them believed. And Anadina wasn't the only family member to exploit a loved one's trust, because Nasaya would take it even further, dragging her own brother to court over their father's funeral expenses. Nasaya had one job after her father passed: handle the insurance. Instead, she filled out the paperwork so carelessly it became worthless, and then expected her brother Randall to cover the difference. But first, Judy needed to understand this family.
The whole thrust of my question is your parents weren't a couple for the last 22 years.
Correct.
Correct.
22 years apart. This wasn't exactly a family rallying together, it was fractures disguised as obligation. And instead of owning her mistake, Nasaya doubled down. She'd failed to disclose a pre-existing condition, and the insurance company refused to pay out a single dollar.
You didn't read the fine print on the policy, and when your father died, either you didn't read the fine print on the policy or you didn't fill it out accurately.
The entire policy was worthless, and somehow that was supposed to be Randall's problem. Judy's ruling cut through every excuse.
If you obligate yourself to be the... I'm speaking.
I'm sorry.
No payout, no forced split, and that policy never paid out a dime. Although exploiting a family member's grief is reprehensible, fabricating accusations to destroy an innocent person's reputation is absolutely unforgivable. Elena Menz came to court ready to ruin her former boss, and she'd already started before the hearing even began. She claimed unpaid wages, but the case exploded when her boss revealed what she'd been posting online, and Judy's reaction changed everything.
She put on social media that I fire women who don't take my sexual advances.
Oh, different story. Oh, that's a different story. Now we're talking business.
This wasn't a wage dispute anymore. This was something far more serious. But she wasn't just making baseless accusations. She was barely paying attention to her own case. In the middle of the hearing, Judy caught her looking at her phone.
What are you doing?
I'm looking for my evidence as well.
What do you mean looking for your evidence? Where did you think you were coming today? Did Mr. Bennett look at me?
Look at me. The command hit like a verdict all on its own. And when Judy pressed her to demonstrate what the alleged inappropriate contact actually looked like, the entire accusation collapsed.
Uncomfortably touching me, and I thought it was just because he was drinking, like, you know, brushing.
You mean like this?
Yeah.
Like this?
Yeah, like.
She couldn't even articulate her own claim. There was nothing behind it. The man she had tried to ruin stood vindicated. And although fabricating accusations is disturbing, nothing in this entire video compares to a mother confronting her own son's rage while his victim is no longer there to speak for herself. Glenn Hazelton had a history of violence that he'd never been able to control. His own mother, Nancy, brought him to court. And from the very first moment, Glenn decided he was the one running the show.
I'm just talking about this case, Your Honor. If you don't want to discuss this case, then we can just dismiss it.
And just like that, the case was over. But so was Glenn's leverage, because Officer Byrd brought him back, and the man who returned to the podium was a completely different person.
Hazelton, Officer Byrd tells me that you have had second thoughts about answering the court's questions, and you're asking me to reconsider the dismissal of this case. Is that correct?
That is correct, Your Honor.
Submissive, quiet, full of second thoughts. The defiance was gone. And then came the admission that changed everything. When Judy asked about his history, Glenn didn't deflect, he didn't minimize. He said the one word that confirmed what everybody had feared.
No, my anger gets the best of me.
Well, that's an uncontrollable.
It's an uncontrollable issue.
Uncontrollable, his own word for his own anger. A man standing in court openly admitting that he had never been able to stop himself. But the most devastating moment wasn't the admission itself. It was what came next. Judy asked where the sister, the very person Glenn was accused of hurting, was today.
So the sister that you allegedly assaulted is no longer here.
The courtroom went silent. The person at the center of this case would never get to speak for herself. And then Nancy, the mother who brought this case, who watched one child hurt another, was asked what she remembered.
She was holding an ice.
Just a second, did you have a conversation with
Yes.
her?
A single gesture from a mother's memory, that image silently showing how her child nursed her wounds, is something no verdict could ever address. Glenn walked in believing he could dictate the terms of his own hearing. He walked out confronting the one consequence no courtroom can ever fix, the permanent absence of the person that he hurt the most.